Episode 314, Joining Forces. The rumble of thunder shook the Blue Water chapter of the Iron Blood clan as the atmosphere filled with the Earth's vital essence. Dark clouds collected over the new chapter leader's quarters, sparking with fine arcs of lightning, creating a stunning scene. Every cultivator within a 10-mile radius could feel the charge of electricity in the air. Dia's eyes gleamed with pride as she guarded Bobby. She knew what the Deputy Patriarch had seen in the boy. He wasn't even an adult yet, but he was closer than ever to reaching the true spirit realm after such a magnificent show of power. In her experience, she had rarely seen a cultivator progress so smoothly. His power would flow freely after what would surely be a forceful breakthrough, and any issues of energy being stuck in a bottleneck would be resolved. The outpouring of power from the new chapter leader instantly gathered the attention of the upper echelons from the Blue Water chapter, including the two disgruntled lieutenants. That boy must be a real genius. Remember how we had to struggle to reach the sixth sky of the Ascended Realm? His unique bloodline power must be a huge help, Lena mused. Niall didn't want to think about how much stronger Bobby had to be to have such a spectacular display of power. The situation was already more troublesome than he had anticipated. If Bobby never reached the true spirit realm, then maybe he would just be a fool that they could brush aside with Lord Tate none the wiser. However, the moment Bobby reached the true spirit realm, the situation would become more complicated. There was a phrase commonly used throughout the Great Canopy Country: never again truly mortal once true spirit. It's going to take a lot more than an accident or a making a fool out of him to displace him if he breaks through, Niall complained. The boy already has the benefit of a bloodline power and the flying iris shield. Although they were at the peak of the true human rank, Bobby had way too many other factors on his side. He had the backing of the Deputy Patriarch, terrifying talent, a unique bloodline, and powerful weapons and tools. Together, combined, all of those factors made him too powerful. Niall had an idea. We have to stop him from reaching the true spirit realm. Everyone knows that his momentum and power and determination is key to breaking through. If I stop him now, it'll take him much longer for him to make it to the true spirit realm later. We need to stall him. Are you crazy? Lena stopped him. If the Deputy Patriarch found out, and you didn't die in the process, you'll never be promoted again. We won't get caught if we employ forces from outside our chapter. We obviously need to get help from outsiders, said Niall. Help from outsiders? You can't possibly be suggesting... Lena trailed off as she understood Niall's plan. The biggest threat to the Blue Water chapter had always been the Lee family. Most recently, they had snuck into a crystal mine belonging to the Iron Blood clan, killing one of the Blue Water chapter's men in the process. Niall began to lay out the details of his plan. Based on the level of energy coming off him, we'll have at least 10 days before the kid condenses his source of true spirit enough to break through to the true spirit realm. In that time, we can cause a diversion. If there's an attack, the chapter leader will have to show up. Lena thought about it for a while before nodding her head. She had to admit that it was a perfect plan. If they didn't want it to be obvious that they were the ones interfering, they would need to rely on outside help. Over the next 2 days, the lieutenants increased their presence along the border between the Iron Blood clan and the Lee's territory, raising tension. Neither side would back down. After all, the Lee family had been the ones that had killed a member of the Iron Blood clan, so it was reasonable for Niall and Lena would wanting revenge. The aggression wasn't even out of character for the Iron Blood clan. By day 3, a battle had broken out. Niall and Lena entered the battle themselves to up the stakes, incapacitating an expert from the Lee family and severely injuring 2 others. That same battle cost the Iron Blood clan a true human rank expert. Typically after an event such as the attack on the crystal mine, the defending party would scale 1 counterattack in retaliation, and that would be the end of it. But not this time. After Niall and Lena's initial move, the Lees continued to attack. The lieutenants had expected to mount further attacks to keep the war going, But the Lees were the ones pushing the front. Niall and Lena had wanted to start a small war to catch Bobby's attention, and the Lees were playing right into their plan. So why were they continuing to attack? In the past, Lord Lee, the head of the Lee family, had avoided any fighting with the Ironblood clan because of the imbalance of power. The Ironblood clan had the advantage of numbers. There's definitely something going on. Lena worried. Why would the Lee family dare to continue to clash with us when they know we would call reinforcements in at any second? Do they really expect to win more than they lose? A messenger approached the two lieutenants planning session and didn't wait to acknowledge before blurting out. Lieutenant, the Wicked Realm chapter has joined the Lees on the front lines. They've already taken out 2 of your own. Real fear showed on the lieutenants' faces as the news sunk in. There had been rumors that the fan-fighting pirate had received one of the 4 Great Moon treasures, specifically the Astral Fan, which had made him more formidable than ever. The Wicked Realm chapter was already known for using cruel methods in battle. If they were acting in unison with the Lee family, that meant real trouble for the Iron Blood clan. On the surface, they had enough fighters to beat any one faction, but they hadn't been prepared for the 2 greatest threats to attack in tandem. On the 7th day of fighting, the Iron Blood clan's losses were greater than ever. If the war continued, the Blue Water chapter would face destruction. That evening, a projection interrupted a strategy meeting. The image of an old man dressed in white floated just off the ground. Niall recognized him as Lord Lee. He was an oracle of the true mystic rank, and even just a projection of him radiated with power. The apparition spoke in a clear voice. If your chapter leader comes and apologizes to me personally, the Lee family will cease their attacks on the Blue Water chapter. Niall was the only one confident enough to respond. You want our chapter leader to apologize? He hasn't taken half a step out of the Blue Water chapter since he got here. When did he offend the Lee family? That child cut off my grandson Caden's arm in Flooded Lake City, Lord Lee raged. Caden had the most potential out of the young ones from our branch from the family that he was recommended to the main Lee family. He could have gone far, but he was crippled by that brat. He almost made my boy's cultivation drop. He is still recovering. The Blue Water chapter had all heard of Caden, the top student from the Blue Water River Lee family, but they hadn't heard about him being struck down. Lord Lee was happy to try and ruin Bobby's reputation as a leader by telling the story of how his grandson had been unfairly injured. Back in the Flooded Lake City, Caden had challenged Bobby's archery skills. The battle that followed had been ugly. Bobby had used all of his strength to seal his opponent in ice. Luckily, Flooded Lake's Lord Caspian had helped Caden in time before he froze to death. Caden's injury had been more severe than they had initially thought. The blue obsidian bow had bled ice into the boy's bones and leached his power. He had been bedridden since his return home 6 months ago. The Lee family had called in many doctors, but his momentum as a disciple had stalled, meaning that it would be very hard for him to reach the true spirit realm in the future. It just so happened that the brat who had injured Caden had shown up in the chapter just across the river. By coincidence, the Lees had learned that Orion, the fan-fighting pirate, also had a beef with Bobby, so the two forces had decided to work together to bring him down. Lord Lee taunted the Blue Water chapter's lieutenants. If Bobby wants to blame someone, tell him to blame himself for making so many enemies. He ran from the Flooded Lake City, injured my grandson, and then stole from the Great Moon Pirate. If Orion the fan-fighting pirate hadn't suggested teaming up and splitting the rewards, I wouldn't have made my move so soon. The last words the apparition said before dissipating were, "Good luck." The next day, the Lees attacked at one point on the border while the pirates attacked another, forcing the lieutenants to split up. Niall faced the Lee family while Lena faced the Wicked Realm chapter. During this battle, Niall was ducking for cover to catch his breath when a messenger approached him speaking urgently. "Sir, Lena has been captured by the fan-fighting pirate." What? Lena captured? Niall panicked. He panted for breath as cold sweat poured down his back. He knew how strong Lena was, but he also knew how cruel Orion the fan-fighting pirate could be. The messenger continued. He said you have 3 days to hand over Bobby. Niall immediately directed the messenger to go straight to the chapter leader's headquarters. Maybe their initial plan of distracting him from cultivating would finally work. But at what cost? Not long after, the same messenger approached Bobby's door panting. Sir, the Lee family and the Wicked Realm chapter has joined forces to attack us. The 2 lieutenants need your help. Thea stood at the entrance and said nothing. She was assigned to protect Bobby. Handling this was up to him. You're dismissed, Bobby said to the messenger. He knew that Niall and Lena were just trying to distract him from keeping him to reach the True Spirit realm. He was closer than ever and wouldn't stop. He had built his energy core through focus and meditation, growing his source of True Spirit within his body. He was more determined than ever, encouraged to push even harder by Niall and Lena's plots to stall him. With another push, he felt his core expand, and something unexpected happened. The Great Moon Pirate's source of True Spirit broke through his containment and interacted with Bobby's, forming a mysterious bridge. The surge of True Spirit energy formed a picture in Bobby's mind's eye. As unequivocal as it was physically in front of him, Bobby saw a book of pure energy in his mind. The cover clearly read, The Book of Mystic Wealth.